Oh yeah, we're cooking with peanut oil.
Sweet. Okay, I think I'm ready.
How many bloopers do you think we're gonna have?
Probably quite a few, if I were guessing.
My whole life feels like a blooper sometimes.
I've recently, I guess people are finally catching on to the fact that we truly are what my family has described as free-range parents. My household feels like a circus at all times.
Who's the ringleader? Is there one? Sarah? Is Sarah the ringleader? Be honest.
I would say we split. I'd say we split pretty. There's days where, I have to take command, put that hat on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I try to be a good guide, good leader. But there's other days where, yeah, she's got that hat on. She's wearing it good.
Yeah.
I'm just the
She wearing it
supporting
good or
act.
she wearing it well? The good well argument's always a tough one for me. I struggle with that in school.
Well, that one would absolutely be wearing it well. I think the actual phrasing is, yeah, you wore that well. So, yeah, it wouldn't be good.
Welcome back to episode 3 of Faith and Frames. And what that means is, if you're hearing and seeing this, we at least did 2 of these things.
We did not get canceled.
Didn't get canceled, and
Howdy.
hope you enjoyed that educational bit because we did say that we wanted to assist in educating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to get you well freshened up on
Well educated.
your goods and your wells.
And your gooders. Don't forget your gooders.
It's a local one. So if we've got any distant listeners, if we have any distant listeners,
There it is.
I said
Listeners.
it wrong again.
Distant
If we have
listeners.
any listeners not located in the Appalachian Mountains,
Welcome.
welcome. Like John Wist, our
Yeah.
buddy John,
Hey, John.
up there in Maryland, I do believe, at least D.C.
Yeah, D.C. area.
He may not know what gooder is.
Probably not.
May not know what gooder is.
I would say our massive Finnish following also may not know what gooder is for all of our Finlandians out there.
Maybe Teppo's listening.
Hey, Teppo. That'd be cool. He's a good one.
He's been a good mentor.
He's a gooder one.
Always enjoy the chats with Teppo.
Yeah.
So, to get started, you guys may have been seeing us if you are partaking in the local Friday Night Light scene. You
Good old
may have been
football.
seeing us on some local gridirons, right on the sidelines,
Oh, yes.
in uniform with our new uniforms, right, and holding some cameras.
Oh, yeah. We like holding cameras.
Why? I mean, maybe people don't know what we're doing. Have never seen us out there. Why? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. So, wow, that sounded horrible. Yeah. That was a good one. We have collaborated, going back to episode 2, the collaboration conversation that we had there for a little bit. We have collaborated with some of our friends, Grassroots Media,
Yeah.
Mr. Dalton Lamb,
Yep.
to essentially be the highlight reel for the local football game.
No
so,
pun intended.
yeah, so Grassroots Media, they essentially do live broadcast. They broadcast one game per week. It's the game of the week.
There you go.
It is.
There it is.
Game of the week. We have been commissioned to handle sideline, huddle, big plays, big hits. So we're the highlight guys, essentially. That's why you see us running around on the field. Heck, you may see Cole, my 6-year-old, right behind us, or with his older girlfriends in the stands.
Buchanan.
Yes, he has a girlfriend. She's older. He likes old women. He likes his cougars.
I don't know how Mr. James might feel about that. We'll have to ask him because I fully intend to get him on this podcast as a guest.
Oh, yeah, James will be a hoot.
So we'll have to ask him how he feels about potential suitors for his daughter.
Yeah, younger ones at that, younger ones.
Quite a bit younger.
Yeah, so anyways, but yeah, we're the highlight guys. We've been collaborating with Grassroots Media. They're doing a great job at bringing local broadcast to our area.
Yep.
I think they actually expand beyond Greene County now. They're in Hawkins County.
That's right.
They're in Hawkins County. So we're just trying to help Dalton out, help Grassroots on the highlight side of things. It's a big undertaking. I don't think people realize, and I didn't even realize it until we started working with him, how much time, effort, and work goes into live broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
No different than, we don't do live broadcasts, but obviously we do media. We know how much time, effort, and dollars it takes to do what we do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize on the live broadcast side.
Well,
It's crazy.
So yeah, it's been eye opening in that sense.
Yeah.
But another thing too, honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed getting back into it because in high school I played sports.
Yeah,
You
we were
played
both
sports,
athletes. Both athletes.
and the sports that I didn't play, I normally watched. Right, I enjoyed being around sports. Sports have been a very big part of my life, my upbringing, and in a lot of ways has shaped who I am. Right, you know, it gives you mental fortitude. All those things we could talk about at length.
Yeah.
But anyways, I did not realize how much I missed.
Yeah.
Truly missed local sports or just sports in general, right? So being back on the sidelines, hearing the teammates chatter, the fans, the bands, all of those things, it's been it's been enjoyable. I've really enjoyed our time back on the gridiron.
It's been pretty fun, and this is also a little known fact, other than locally, but you are the son of a coach. The son of a coach.
Coached many actually.
Yeah.
Possibly many listeners. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely coached me.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite coaches, Mr. Jeff Collins, if you're out there listening.
Well, so on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about something that you kind of mentioned. You touched on it.
Mm-hmm.
You did. You just sort of tiptoed around the fact that a lot of people may not realize what all goes into live broadcasts. Well, we don't do broadcasts like you mentioned.
Right.
But we're going to talk about why is what we do seemingly expensive.
Yeah. A little on the pricey side.
But first, let's thank our sponsor.
Yeah, our sponsor of today's episode 3 of Faith in Frames, none other than Motion Creative Media. Us, sponsored by Garrett and Jared. Here at Motion Creative Media, we want to inspire a love for active living through photo and video that moves your business forward.
I see what you did there.
You like that?
That was really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It was really creative.
Thank you, Motion Creative Media. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah. Thank you, Garrett,
for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to serve. Meat and taters, Jared. Let's get into the meat and taters.
Yeah. Taters are also potatoes for those who may not understand that reference.
For all of our European listeners.
As John, our pastor, would say, if you're not sophisticated enough to know what taters are,
we're going to colloquialize it a little bit.
That is a potato.
Nice.
For some of you.
Get us into it. Why is it so heckin' expensive sometimes, or perceivably heckin' expensive to do what we do?
Yeah. Well, I think first you've got to just understand that it may seem as though it's an expensive investment, an expensive price tag,
right?
But that comes from a lot of factors, right? One of which I'm sure we have all seen the meme. I normally see it in the form of a meme, right? There's this photo. It looks like the back of a massive Freightliner ship or whatever, right? And you got the prop exposed.
Yeah.
And
prop's
it shows
like 70 feet tall.
Oh yeah, it's a massive thing, right? And the whole premise of the story is this guy comes in because there's an issue with the boat.
Yeah.
And he fixes it with 2 light ball-peen hammer taps. Ting, ting, ting. And he gives him this massive bill. And the recipient of that bill is like, why is it so expensive? You were here for 30 seconds and you tapped the hammer twice. Right? And the whole premise is that's true.
Yeah.
But I had the knowledge, right? I had the understanding of where to tap and the fact that a tap would fix it, right? So like you're paying at that point for the experience.
Right.
So yeah, at that point you've got to understand, well, you know, we have experience in the field.
Right.
Right.
To
a degree. And it's going to continue to grow. But it's important to know that, full transparency, we've made mistakes.
Absolutely.
Along the way. Many.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing too. I'll make a mistake tomorrow, probably. I look back at work that I created and finished and delivered a week ago.
Yeah.
And see issues with it, right? I could have done something different. So you're constantly learning, right? So that is something where you've got to constantly be learning. You've got to constantly be improving yourself. So you're paying for that experience to a degree. But just on the physical sense, right? Gear is
freaking gear.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's it's a curse known as GAS, right? Gear acquisition syndrome. I've been through it. You've been through it, and periodically the bug still shows up.
Yeah,
in the form of a B&H online cart, maybe a package on my front door step.
They have received so many of my dollars. Probably not as many as others, but for me, at least if we scale it down to Garrett,
gear's expensive. It's expensive, right? And so there's a cost of there's a barrier of entry to what we do, and that's different for everybody.
Right.
No different than someone who's let's take a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Let's not pick on the plumber,
right.
But let's take a mechanic for instance. They may not start out with Snap-on tools,
right?
They may have started out with Harbor Freight tools. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So,
Pittsburgh,
as their business grows, as they start to generate revenue, they're slowly upgrading those things to where eventually maybe they are using Snap-on tools. But the point is like that mechanic still had to purchase the tools to do the job. Our tools are cameras, they're lenses, they're all kinds of other things, right? And so the issue is like, okay, if you think of a camera and you see a camera, you're like, well, that's only $1,500. Well, that camera can't do anything without a lens.
Right.
It can't do anything without batteries.
It will not power itself on.
It can't do anything without an SD card or some sort of storage, right? By the way, SD cards are crazy expensive.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of conspiracy. At least I have a conspiracy with SD cards. There's no reason that something that small.
So on any given day, we show up even on a simple set. Say we don't take the first light, which by the way is super expensive.
Right.
Say we don't take the first light stand or anything like that. Say we're showing up with minimal gear. Camera, lens, card, battery. The bare minimum.
And 2 smiling faces.
Even on our level, don't even think of Hollywood. Even on our level, you can easily be holding $6,000, $7,000, $8,000
for sure.
Easy. That's so easy to do, and so it cost us money to do that. And you could say, yeah, sure, you chose this career, you chose this industry, which is very true.
Absolutely, I'll give you that.
It's something that is, again, going back to the education thing. Video's new. And so a lot of people, businesses in our area kind of get sticker shock when maybe we send a quote over or whatever, right? We send an estimate. They may be kind of taken back. It's like, gosh, why is it that expensive? Well, so eventually it'll get to the point of, okay, you just went through it. You just put a new roof on your house.
Yeah.
Storm rolled through.
Oh, yeah.
Took some shingles off and you needed a new roof.
Yeah.
You got several estimates.
For sure. And
they may have ranged, but you really didn't have any question in your mind as to why it costs this much money, right? There's materials, they have tools, labor, all of these things. Like it's just something that's so understood.
Well, it's a service industry, I guess. Well, I mean, it's been around since houses have been being built. So it's understood that, a roof's probably going to be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
If you think about the cost of a house, the roof is typically a pretty big cost of that house. So it's understood. And you made a pretty good point. Being at, especially our area is so new to media services, photo and video on the commercial scale, at least. We've had a few people, and I feel like, no matter the size of the business, we've had a few people where it's like, I almost feel like we just totally blindsided them.
Yeah.
With the cost, just because the industry itself, it's an expensive industry to be in and to work in.
Sure.
And so, we simply, again, to educate the why, what we do is so expensive. And you mentioned the physical things, just, cameras, lenses, SD cards, lights. But then going back to that hammer.
Yeah.
The guy coming in and pinging the hammer.
Right.
You have to know where.
Yeah.
You have to know where and why and how to ping that hammer.
Yep.
So not only are we physically at cost here, but we are essentially commissioned to solve the problem.
Yeah.
We have to know how to solve the problem.
Right.
It's not as simple as we fired up the camera, we shot, your 30-minute bit or whatever, and then a movie appears.
Right. Doesn't happen that way.
No, there's time that goes into creating that movie. Mm-hmm. There's time that goes into creating that feel, that look, all the things that are not just the physical equipment as well.
So take the commercial thing aside, right? Let's not even think about that because some people might not be able to relate to that. But Let's talk about where we cut our teeth.
Yeah.
Weddings, right?
Yeah, wedding films.
That was the first thing that we started to generate revenue with. COVID pushed us away from that and made us transition essentially. But weddings. So most of your weddings are, and everybody does it a little different, but at the end of the day, they pretty much have packages based upon the time that they're there on site. Right. So they may say you book an 8-hour package. It's pretty standard. It's really easy for people on the outside looking in to think, well, why is this so expensive? You were only here for 8 hours. And so they just quickly do the math. Okay, well, it's $3,000. Divide that by 8. Why are you worth whatever that math is per hour? Well, that's not your hourly rate.
It's almost $400 an hour.
Okay. I'm glad you had the math because I didn't. But like
$3,200 would be $400 an hour. So yeah.
Why? So why are you worth $400 an hour?
Yeah.
At $3,200 it is, right? You're right. So why are you worth $3,200 an hour? I'm not.
Right.
Because it's not my hourly breakdown. Yeah, you saw me for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I was here, visible in your world for 8 hours, and you knew that. But that's where the work just begins. Right now, I have to go back to my computer.
Yeah.
And I have to edit this 8 hours worth of photos, footage, whatever it is. I've got to cull through. I've got to pick out the shots that I like the best. All of these things.
Right.
You got to actually put the piece together, right? The story, the finished product that doesn't assemble itself.
Right.
So there are many, 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 many hours spent after that. And so that is why, people aren't privy to the amount of time that it takes to edit.
No. Well, and going back to even the physical side of things, the amount of time that it takes to edit on the machine that you had to purchase.
Also true.
On the software that you had to purchase.
Yeah.
To be able to even process that footage.
Yeah.
And process those images.
Yeah. So the good software costs money. And a lot of them are monthly. So that's a recurring cost.
The good machines cost money.
They cost money. Because here's the crappy part about and it's exciting but also crappy in the same sense. Like now there are cameras that shoot like 16K.
Yeah.
Right? So 4K, you've got all of these things. Well, if you're going to shoot those really high resolutions, that comes at a cost.
You've got to have a machine that can handle that.
Your file sizes are going to be massive. So now you've got to have extra hard drives. You're constantly having to buy hard drives. So then you've got to have a computer that can actually handle that, because just your old average computer, an average laptop would choke at some of the 4K footage, some of the 6K footage that we send at it, right? It would not work. So you've got all of these additional costs. And again, they're reoccurring. I mean, I kid you not, one of our favorite cameras is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K.
Hell yeah. Love it.
Quite a mouthful, right?
It.
Blackmagic Design is truly doing some black magic. But anyways.
Hey, I like that.
In their B-roll codec. Yeah. This may be a little too in the weeds for some of our listeners and viewers, but just to give you perspective, we shot a 20-minute interview. Mm-hmm. One camera.
Yep.
The file size was 98 gigabytes. Now, what that means to some people is nothing. But we also shot that with two cameras. So now...
Because we have an A and a B angle.
We have an A and a B angle.
Right.
That's almost 200 gigs right there. That's just one project, or one project.
That's one interview.
That's one interview. That's no B-roll. That's no additional footage or anything like that. That is just the interview talking bit.
That same day, correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe I know the interviews that you're talking about. We did, 3 total interviews?
Yes.
So between 3 interviews,
600 gigs.
Yeah, over half of a terabyte.
Just of talking bits.
Of talking. No B-roll, no nothing.
Nothing. And so that's an extreme example.
Right.
Those cameras they're certainly data hungry.
Well, they're cinema cameras. They're cinema cameras.
You can certainly shoot more efficient cameras and codecs.
But they are made to shoot movies on.
And they do a dang good job at it.
And they do. We love them. Shout out Blackmagic, future sponsor. Thank you.
Also speaks to the sheer volume of storage that you need.
Right.
And so here's the other thing. I going back to my IT background, I'm really, really big proponent of backups.
Redundancy.
In the IT space, if you're in the support side like I was, you're only as good as your last backup.
Yes.
And your backup should have other backups. Means nothing to a lot of people, but essentially you should have multiple places that you can access the stuff.
You're also only as good as your business partner remembering to back things up at times.
All of those things. So here's the really cool thing, right? And a benefit in our side for essentially never deleting anything. We've got client work on hard drives from 4 years ago.
Right.
Now, we may never need that.
But
How many times have we had a client come back 6, 7, 8 months down the road, maybe a year and a half later, and be like, "Hey, you remember that thing we did?
I need a new cut."
Yeah, could you cut us a social cut for that right now?" And here's the thing: we're able to not only keep a client that came back to us happy,
right,
because we do have the footage,
right,
but B, we're able to make more money, right? And so it's just another.
Well, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win on everybody's behalf.
They get their new cut, and we get new income. And I think that's pretty common now. I know, at least in some of our recent inquiries, we have a lot of folks who ask about future cuts. Mm-hmm. They say, "Hey, we want this branded piece, or we want this highlight film, but also in the future we want to entertain the possibility of new cuts."
Right.
So we have that capability.
Yeah.
But we only have that capability because we've
spent the money.
We've had to spend the money
to keep these hard drives.
Yeah. We've had to
and
spend
to currently
the money.
constantly buy new hard drives.
Yeah.
So that we can house all of this footage.
Yeah.
And photos. Photos is the same way.
Yeah. Photos the same way. I was going to say an example that I saw literally on Instagram, I believe today, or it may have been a while back. One of our friends, Melissa, she's a family photographer, Melissa Hankins. Shout out to Mel.
Yeah.
She put a story up, and she had just purchased 5 new SD cards.
She did buy the SanDiscs, which
she got the bougies.
She didn't skimp out.
But hey, if I'm coming to you with my money as a family, I want to know that you're going to keep my photos, or your card is not going to go corrupt. If people even know that cards go corrupt. The girl is investing in her business. 2 months ago, I saw where she bought new hard drives because she's attempting to do on the photo side the same thing that we do.
Yep.
She's attempting to offer that service to her clients. She's investing in her business, which means Melissa is going to nab a premium. She has to.
Right.
But what that affords to the customer is a premium experience.
Yeah.
It offers them something to where they can fully trust you with their need, with their problem.
Right.
So whether it be Melissa on the family side,
fill in the blank.
Yeah, fill in the blank. Whether it be us on the commercial side, whatever, we're able to fulfill those needs.
Yep.
Because we invest the money. We have to.
Yeah.
We have to stay relevant and to keep up with the industry.
Well, so you mentioned the investment, you mentioned the cost. Here's the great thing for a business.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. This may come as a shock to you. You may not have expected that cost. But you'd be hard pressed to find better ways to spend your dollar because this is going to be, we mentioned it on another episode last week.
I think it's episode 2. Yeah.
Evergreen, right? Mm-hmm. That's a very important thing. We mentioned passive. Mm-hmm. All of these things are only possible if you do see the value and you make that investment.
Right.
But it can return exponentially.
Well, think about the courses that we've taken through various mentors. Each one of those mentors, without guaranteeing, have pretty much put their stamp on this course that says, with this course, I can assure you that you will see a return on that investment. Thus far, at least unless you can correct me otherwise, thus far, that has been true 100% of the time.
Yeah. That's looked different every time, and it's had a different timeline.
It's different every time, but one of the most recent courses that we went through, one of the very first things that the mentor stated was, "I can assure you, with this course, you will return your investment and then some."
Yeah.
And we have.
Yeah.
Financially, networking, whatever. And to me, the network is almost as fun as probably more fun than the financial side of things because we're building new relationships.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's one of those services though, going back to the evergreen content, where it may be a bigger investment today.
Well, then maybe it's bigger than you anticipated.
Bigger than you anticipated. But the return that nabs you in the future, you paid for it once and you're going to see some reoccurring clientele.
Well, most businesses, without any actual hard intel or research, I'd say, so let's just take 2 testimonials.
Yeah.
Or a single testimonial. You can buy that today.
Yeah.
And you probably truly won't have a need to refresh that. You might not need to have a need to refresh that for like 3 years.
I would say 2 to 5 years, probably pretty safe.
So, yeah. And so you think about it, you bought it once. Mm-hmm. And for 3 years, it is a screaming billboard for your business. That's a great investment.
Absolutely, especially considering how much physical billboards cost.
Okay, so here's another way of looking at that. Let's take this testimonial thing. Let's run with that because I'm really passionate about testimonials. I think they're probably the best way for you to advertise.
Agreed.
Say you had some way of tracking.
Yeah.
That testimonial was seen in the 3 years that you let it live. Let's just say it was seen by 5,000 people. Mm-hmm. Say it converted, and you may not have any way of tracking and knowing this, but let's just say for this argument that it converted 2,000 of them. Mm-hmm. How many hours, time, because at the end of the day, that's all we have is time. Yeah. We've all got the same 24 hours, and we've all got an expiration date that we don't know when it's going to be.
Right.
Time's the only thing that's universal, right? How much time would it have taken you to have personally reached 5,000 people in person and then converted to the 2,000, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, if you look at it that way, it's a no-brainer.
Well, think about this. I mean, I'm going to shoot you even lower. I'm going to say you have a 1%. Let's say you have a 1% return on 5,000. That's 50 people. Yeah. 50 people.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to even convert 50?
If you have to do it all in person or through any other means?
Yeah.
Well, no, let's just take in person because that's something that people can
it's probably going to take you 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But you have to physically go do that.
Yeah.
You have to wake up every single day and go physically try to nab those 50.
Right.
I have a sales background.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought up the 1%. Whenever we're lead generating, a good return was 1%. Mm. From that 1%, you then close 30%.
Dang.
So now you're a third of a percent.
Yeah.
And you're considered a stud.
Right.
But it takes a full year.
Yeah.
To get those clients physically going out every single day versus having something that does that for you.
Right.
Like you say, while you sleep, it's a passive billboard. No different than a billboard on the side of the interstate. Side of the interstate, though, you can't even track that.
Buc-ee's.
Bussies.
Or as my daughter would say, Buck-bees.
Buck-bees. I like that. Definitely a big Buc-ee's fan here in this house.
Warehouse. Billboard, right? We're talking about testimonials being a billboard. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are still actual billboards.
Yeah.
And Buc-ee's uses them.
They do.
But think about that. They're doing nothing. They purchased a billboard and had the graphic made, all of these things.
Billboards. They have billboards.
Oh, yeah, many.
Like 10 before you get to the actual store.
But nobody in person had to do that.
No.
It's doing it for them, you know? So it's the same exact thing. And so that's something that we need to, that we're trying to do. That's something that we're trying to do moving forward is part of that education piece is to show people the value.
Yeah.
So that they'll see it as more of an investment.
Yeah.
Rather than a price or a cost. Because sure, it does have a dollar amount associated with it, but it's an investment.
Well, but going back to episode 2, last week's episode, we talked about partnering. Mm-hmm. So a billboard is not going to partner with you.
No.
A physical billboard on the side of the interstate, if that's the example that we're going through or going with, that is not going to partner with you.
Right.
That is not going to make adjustments. It's not going to tell you, hey, we think that you could really lean into
dynamic.
this. Yeah, it's not dynamic. You can't lean into this thing that you're doing well. We can't adjust this thing that maybe you could do better at. Mm-hmm. The billboard is just a billboard. Yeah. That's it.
Right.
Versus when you're partnering with someone or some people who have the desire to truly be a business partner per se.
Right.
You can make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah.
Do you know what Buc-ee's has to do to adjust that billboard? They got to put up a new billboard.
Yeah. Get a new graphic printed.
New graphic.
And then installed.
Yeah. So, it's not very dynamic versus partnering, once again, with folks who want to be in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this, too. I know, at least on a small scale, we've talked about it, but this always blows my mind. Whenever you see Hollywood budgets for, feature films, you see that the movie grossed, let's just say it grossed $100 million at the box office.
Yep.
that movie very well could have cost the studio $150 million to produce. They have to generate $150 million before anybody sees any profit. Blows my mind. Blows my mind at how much it costs to put on a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Or at least how much Hollywood has cost to put on Hollywood movies.
Right. But I mean, more often, I mean, it's obviously a risk.
It is a risk.
You can't know that people are going to watch it, but more often than not, they see a good return on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few tankers. There's certainly a few tankers.
Sure.
You've got some big tanks.
But yeah, so it's an investment, and that's something that we're here to help take that journey with you.
Yeah.
We want to walk that path with you, and in whatever way is necessary, we want you to be able to see the value in what we do to help grow your business.
Right.
That's something that we're really passionate about. We said it on many episodes.
Yeah.
All
two of them.
Hey. All right, so a couple of episodes. We said it on a couple of episodes. But I'll continue to say it.
We'll continue to say it.
If people continue to watch and listen, I'll continue to say it. We want to take that journey with you.
Yeah.
We want to see your business grow. And we think that one of the best ways you can be doing that in 2023 is through photo and video.
Yeah. So with that, Jared, I know we're kind of getting towards the end of the episode. I think next week we're actually going to be bringing our first guest. Somebody has agreed. Don't know why.
To take this ride with us.
Has agreed to hop on this podcast with us.
Wow. What a poor sap.
I feel sorry for that individual. So who exactly is that individual?
All right. So next week, barring the rapture,
yeah,
provided that we're still here, Lord
Jesus
willing,
coming back.
Our first guest, our inaugural first, numero uno, is going to be Justice Stewart.
Hey.
Another local filmmaker who runs Not Just Media.
I actually really like that name.
I do too.
He is not just a filmmaker.
He's not just media. He's more than media.
Yeah. He's more than justice.
So yeah, we're going to pick Justice Brain.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, Justice.
Justice. Well, it's an S with an apostrophe. There's no apostrophe S. It's just
right.
Justice.
Is that the phonetic
Yep.
combination
Justice,
there?
Apostrophe.
Okay. So yeah, next week on Faith and Frames, Lord willing, we're going to have Justice Stewart on. So be sure to tune in for that, and we will be sure to quiz and pick his brain on all things media.
If you have any questions for Mr. Stewart, why don't you drop those to us? I would like to get some community involvement here.
Let's keep it PC.
Yeah, let's keep it PC, but
sure.
Give us some questions maybe.
Yeah.
Because Justice does a variety of things. Obviously, he does what we do. He does a lot of freelance work in the live broadcast realm. If you have any questions for Justice, drop them down in the comments, shoot us an email, shoot us a text, whatever you do. Send us the Pony Express.
And I still hate goodbyes.
I do as well.
I never know how to do them.
I'm Southern. We're not good at it.
So I'll just come out and say it. We'll see you later.
Y'all have a good one.
Be safe. Thank you for watching Faith and Frames.
Faith and Frames. Thank you for watching Faith and Frames. We'll see you next week.